Once I learned this one secret, I was able to give women some of the best orgasms of their entire lives. And the good news is any man can easily do this and become the best she's ever had. There are actually just 3 rules that you need to follow and 1 common mistake to avoid. So in this video, I'm gonna reveal the #1 mistake that kept me from satisfying women in bed. I'm gonna explain my 3 rules to give your partner an orgasm every single time. And I'm gonna share the 1 secret to female pleasure that instantly changed my sex life forever and will put you at a totally different level to 99% of men on the planet. And to help you understand why these techniques are so powerful, you first need to know how this mistake is holding you back. Did you grow up watching porn thinking it was the gold standard to learn about sex? I know I did. I used to try and mimic everything I saw in porn because they were the professionals, right? Wrong. And that's because porn leads us to believe that sex is all about the physical connection, like penis size or crazy positions and pounding away like a piston. But the problem is this creates performance-driven sex and can often lead a woman to feel so disconnected from you that she actually fakes an orgasm just to get it over with. Personally, I learned the hard way that when it comes to female pleasure, there's actually a much more important connection to prioritize than just the physical aspect. So first things first, stop copying porn. And if you want to be in the 1% of men who are the best she's ever had and learn the key to unlocking female pleasure, then you need to know this first rule right here. The truth is, when it comes to sex, men and women are completely different. Male sexual arousal is like fire. It can be turned on in a second, and we can be erect and ready for penetration immediately. But female sexual arousal is more like water. It is slow to boil, and it can take up to 20 to 40 minutes for women to be fully engorged and ready for penetration. And this is where so many men get it wrong. They get overly excited from being turned on and hard that they rush to penetration when their partner isn't ready. And this can result in really painful and unenjoyable sex for her. So what is the first rule to master female pleasure? Rule number 1. Take your time. Build up the tension and anticipation with teasing and extended foreplay to ensure she is 100% ready for penetration. This shows her that you're not in a rush and you care about her pleasure, which will make her feel seen and cared for. And this starts to tap into the key to unlocking female pleasure, which is not just the physical, but the emotional connection. But in order for that to happen and for her to actually feel safe to express her deepest orgasms with you, you need to know this next rule right here. There is a lot of bad advice on the internet about pleasuring women. And if you follow an ex-porn star or those red pill alpha male types, you might think you need to be super aggressive and dominant and that you should know what she likes better than her. Sadly, these are usually the type of guys who are stuck in their ego and they think they're absolutely rocking her world, but actually she's just pretending to like it so she doesn't hurt his feelings. Don't be that guy. The good news is there's a really easy fix here, and if you're willing to swallow your pride, you can give your partner an orgasm every single time and become an extremely confident lover. So what is the second rule to master female pleasure? Rule number 2, ask her. Ask her what she wants and needs. Ask her, how do you like to orgasm? How do you want to be touched? What gives you the most pleasure? Instead of just assuming you know best, because you don't. Every woman is completely different, and it's not possible for you to know how every woman gets off and what feels best for her. What feels amazing for one woman might be extremely painful for another. So don't fall into this trap. You're not supposed to know. Having this kind of open conversation before sex is so incredibly sexy. It builds anticipation and excitement, and you get to learn exactly what she wants and needs to orgasm. It takes a truly confident man to discuss sex beforehand, and she will be so grateful to know you actually care about her pleasure. This is what creates safety and helps build that emotional connection for her to be able to express her deepest orgasms with you. But unfortunately, this is all for nothing unless you have my secret formula that will set you apart from 99% of men on the planet and this final rule right here. I'm not gonna lie. Men have a pretty bad reputation when it comes to sex. The consensus from society is that all men are pigs and all they want and think about is sex. And this 100% impacts women and the way that they see us. So it's very possible that when you go in to initiate sex with your partner, she thinks you just want to get off and that maybe you're just using her for a release. It can seem like it's all physical for you and that there's no emotional connection. So what is the third rule to master female pleasure? Rule number 3. A night just for her. Create a night completely centered around her pleasure, with a set boundary of no penetrative sex and no pleasuring you. A way for you to show her how much you care about her and appreciate her and how much she deserves this pleasure. A guy in my program recently posted in the community that his partner said to him, "No man has ever made her feel the way he does." Unfortunately, a lot of guys don't get to experience this because they implement these 3 rules at the wrong time. And that's because they're missing the final secret to truly understanding female pleasure. And this is the one thing that will set you apart from 99% of men on the planet. It's a way to connect to women on an emotional level and understand them deeper than they even know themselves sometimes. And this is by understanding her menstrual cycle. When we track our partner's cycle, we will be in tune with 4 very different phases throughout the month and be able to support her beyond her wildest dreams. This gives us deeper insight into the best times to try and initiate sex, or when to give her space, and how to understand what she is going through emotionally. When you follow these 3 rules and factor in where she is on her cycle, you will be able to connect with your partner on a deep emotional level and give her pleasure she didn't know was possible. But unfortunately, you still have a very big problem if you're unable to last long enough during sex. So make sure you check out this next video here so you can last all night long and give your partner the pleasure that she deserves.